Don't you think we're done? Don't you think we're done? Don't you think we're done? Knew that it was true from the way you looked at me, at me. Don't know what to do, what to say to make you leave with me. Make me feel alive. Take my hand and run, let me be the one. Let's just take the drive. Night's only begun, don't you think we're done?
Guys, streaming wise, it is actually getting better on Meld Studios, so if ever you guys are actually asking as to what I'm going to be doing on the YouTube side of things, I'm going to be making some new scenes with individual statuses, the break screen, the starting screen, and the end screen. Basically, I'm gonna do those things. It's pretty important that I actually do those things, so bear with me. All right.
Don't you think we're
If any of you guys are watching from the YouTube side of things, then fine. But if you don't mind when it comes to transitions, when it comes to me fixing shit, I'm just gonna do those first. Okay. Just making sure that you guys understand, because I just want to make sure that I got things on the matter. So yeah, give me a moment here. I'll get started already. Hello, 1, 2, 3 and stuff. Yeah.
Back to the sound. Tell me what you like.
Yo.
Tell me what you like. What you like. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you like. What you like. Tell me what you like.
So is this part? Yeah, always with that part. There's always a problem with that. Okay, that actually looks better. Those just joining from Restream basically Kick a D Live. Welcome, and I'm definitely mean welcome. Yes, I'm just making sure that everything's looking okay and shit. All right. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna stop? Am I gonna stop? Already stop this? Okay. Actually, I think it can make that work. It can actually. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. Anything else that I need to do? I don't think so. If there isn't anything else, then I think we're okay. But I don't want the broadcast to stop from there. So from the other side. So yeah, I'm just making sure that you guys actually understand my point of view. All right. Where are we right now? Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I still got to do some edits. So yeah, I still got to do some edits, guys. So yeah, give me a moment here. If it's not a fun experience, then I don't know. Maybe do something else. I'm not sure. I'm just doing whatever. All I know is I still got some shit to do. Reaction. I didn't think that I would actually be doing a reaction, but apparently this is important because give me a moment here. At least on the YouTube side and stuff. Give me a moment. Okay. Yeah, I thought there was something I knew was missing, but whatever.
Seeing all the watering fill your eyes, doing the things they know, talking about the same old stories they've heard about the people.
And Quintic, of course. The fade that I'm using for the one on Meld Studio is actually simple. Well, you can really just customize stuff all over on OBS, so yes, basically doing okay on OBS, really good. But I can't really do it on my gaming PC, so I'll just sell with what I got. Nah, good enough for me. Okay. Let's try to clear up some gaps. There is just a real problem when it comes to the sounding and shit. Got a few more. I think for publishing a couple more reaction videos, I'm gonna do a couple more this time, and then work, and then start uploading shit. Okay. Because I keep getting stuck doing reaction videos because too many things are happening. Because I keep falling asleep on the couch, that more time passes because I fall asleep because I'm on the couch. Because yeah, basically it's a repetitive thing. But hey, it's progress. Something's happening. But there's also the VODs. I'm also making progress on the VODs too. I put two of the backed up VODs. I put two of the backed up VODs already on the live stream VODs playlist. So yeah, very good news.
potion, a little sweet and spice. Throw it all in a cauldron, mix it up real nice. Fire in my eyes, stir counterclockwise. I dream of you all night. Feel with devotion, follow the signs. With this devotion, you will be all mine. I'm pulling you closer to me. You're finding it harder to breathe. The magic is taking over your mind entirely. I'm the only one that you see. I got what you want, what you need. Before you know it, you are falling deep in love with me. Little sweet and spice. Made a love potion for you. Little sweet and spice. Made a love potion for you. This is the moment, no turning back. One drop on your lips and the spell will take effect. Under the moonlight, stay close to my side. We're burning so bright. Oh, oh, oh. Feel the devotion, follow the signs. With this devotion, you will be all mine. I'm pulling you closer to me. You're finding it harder to breathe. The magic is taking over your mind entirely. I'm the only one that you see. I got what you want, what you need. Before you know it, you are falling deep.
So many of these gaps, bro. I can't deal with them all, bro. I can't deal with all of the all of the unmanaged gaps, bro. So big.
Made a love potion for you. Feel the devotion, follow the signs. With this devotion, you will be all mine. Feel the devotion, follow the
All right, it's time to try and do the filler shit. Put captions on it only on the beginning and the end because that's how I like to actually do shit. Good. Let it handle itself as it should. Oh, wait. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, I am not. Oh, this is the second. I think this is the update already. I think this is the update already. Holy shit. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. That's right. Oh my god, yeah. Why have I not thought of this? Okay. Okay, looks like we got ourselves something. Just give me a moment here. I will start a few things so that these things are not too, iffy on us. So that it doesn't become iffy on us and that it doesn't become problematic. At the same time, we're going to be watching it on YouTube. Fine. But we're going to... Oh, no. I thought that there was... Okay. damn it. Why did you have to get through that shit? Okay, so there's... I thought there was an update to it. So basically the video that I was actually going to actually check out. Ah, man. Just gotta make sure that I issue a bit of an apology. I thought there was an actual update to the TF2 match fixing thing, but the video that I actually queued up isn't actually an update to it. Basically, the match fixing thing is still under investigation within Riot. So basically, it is a big deal. It's already been 2 weeks, and so far there are no updates. If there are any updates, it will be on a separate video. So yeah, I thought that there would be further updates, but yeah, seems I was mistaken, and here we are. We're still in the dark. I'm definitely still in the dark of what exactly to do. And apparently there are no updates at all when I'm actually checking everything. Yeah. I thought there was any update at all of Valorant T2 NA T2 match fixing. Past 24 hours on search engines basically. Wait, it's not match fixing. It's just you guys thinking BLG was good and being surprised when the expected result happens. Oh man. Basically, not much. Basically, there are no updates so far on the tier 2 North America match fixing, basically. But it is still bad news. Okay, let's just be very clear about this. It is bad to actually fix a match just to let certain players actually get money out of throwing the game. The blackmail is bad. It is just how good is it? How good is this thing? No, it's not. I'm definitely going to say it. I've said it once. I'm going to say it again. Anything that can influence a game, anything that can make a game get exploited and stuff, no, it's not going to work. Absolutely not. Because it actually ruins the experience for everyone else. Seriously. It helps them get immersed, right? So don't ruin the immersion, basically. Don't ruin the immersion. And you won't have any problems. But if you actually ruin the immersion for everyone else, you and I have a problem. So yeah, just don't give people don't give this notion that if you ruin the game's experience, you will actually have satisfaction on it. No, you shouldn't have any. You shouldn't have any bit of satisfaction on it. You shouldn't even control how a game even works. For Pete's sake, don't control how a game works, please. That's just not how it's supposed to be. Oh man, looks like I know what to add to CapCut now. I thought there was an update, but apparently I'm mistaken. So whatever. So we're coming to that port. We're coming to that part already. Then transcripting that part.
The year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Okay, okay. Right then, here we go. Alright, now I can compound clip this. Now I can do the captions for it, bro. Thank you. Give me a moment here. Uh-huh. I'm just making sure how fast the sliders are working, so yeah. I'm actually glad that's how it works. Holy shit. Transition. Let's try 500. Yeah. Alright, let's see. Oh, okay. So that's how it is. Guys, give me a moment. Now I understand what I'm supposed to do and stuff. Okay. Now, what I actually did on the Meld Studio is actually put at least one instance of the cam in case that I need to reset it while it's on starting break or end screens in Meld Studio. Actually, that's actually good. Why didn't I think of that before? Yeah, that works. Okay then. Oh. Oh, okay, okay. Guys, bear with me. You need to attend on some stuff, so don't go anywhere.
close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it?
my heart in your hands till it came back round. Didn't think that you'd fallen so deep. Didn't know that I had it in me. Guess my sanity breaks away too easy.
Back down, bring it to a halt. You're whack and it's all your fault. Back down, bring it to a halt. You're whack and it's all your fault. Back down, back down, back down, back down.
let me fall to my groove. Secure it. Stop. Secure it. Just let me fall to my groove. Secure it. Stop. Secure it. Just let me fall to my grave. Heart fails under pressure. Wonder if these bad days will last forever. So pessimistic from the past. All the good things end up in caskets. I'm never feeling okay. Good days are so hard to find. Just help me know all the pain. One step from dying. My angels keep it at bay. Can't blame the people for trying. Just let me fall to my grave. Just let me fall to my grave. Secure it. Stop. Secure it. Just let me fall to my groove. Secure it. Stop. Secure it. Just let me fall.
Yo, what is going on? I am back. And yeah, we're actually looking forward to this shit. But hold on. Every time with the live stream camera, I have to keep deploying it. But I usually just close it to make sure because I don't want anyone peeping and shit. Anyway, don't mind if you guys might hear my phone or something. If you don't, then fine. But still, guys, I'll be right back. Hold on. Nagasaki and Shanghai via an underwater cable. The first street in Vladivostok was named Amerikanskaya Street after the Corvette America that arrived in 1871. 2 years later, it was renamed Svetlanskaya Street in honor of the visit of Grand Duke Alexei Alexandrovich of Russia to Vladivostok on the frigate Svetlana. At that time, it consisted of the current Svetlanskaya Street up to number 85 from the Amursky Gulf. Other sections were separate streets with names such as Portovaya, Afanasievskaya, and Ekipachnaya. In 1878, 40% of the city's over 4,000 residents were foreigners. This was also reflected in street names such as Koreyskaya, Pekinskaya, and Kitayskaya, which are now known as Volkanichnaya, Admirala Fokina, and Opiatsky streets. In 1880, the Russian volunteer fleet began regular voyages to Odessa and St. Petersburg with government assistance. On April 28, 1880, Vladivostok was officially declared a city and a separate administrative unit of Primorskaya Oblast. At that time, the city's population was 7,300, double that in 1878. 3 hotels were in operation. Among them were the Moscow, Vladivostok, and Hotel Duluth. In 1883, the settlement administration was established in Vladivostok, and the Russian volunteer fleet began mass transportation of peasants from European Russia to the Far East using steam-powered ships. Vladivostok became a transportation hub, and in 1888, the residents of the oblast governor was moved from Khabarovsk to the city. In 1889, Vladivostok was declared a fortress, and 2 torpedo boats dismantled from the Black Sea were launched. In the 1880s, Vladivostok's cultural life flourished, and a music school was opened at the Siberian Fleet Depot. In 1883, the city's first newspaper was published, and the following year, the Amursky Land Survey Society was established. In 1887, this seals up this foam because I'm using this foam to actually. The good thing about this foam is it actually insulates everything, and that it blocks air from coming in through to actually interfere with the sounding of this. Basically, it just doesn't make static when it does that. So good. But there can be sounds made if there are speakers playing, of course. That's pretty much how it is. Where am I right now? Okay, here we go. Higher education institution in the Far East was established. Meanwhile, during the Russo-Japanese War, a Japanese warship fleet fired on the city. The Vladivostok Cruiser Squadron participated in the war by blocking their approach to the besieged Port Arthur. Vladivostok participated in the 1905 revolution and was briefly controlled by rebel military units in early 1906. The unrest in the city was suppressed by General Georgy Kazbek through the use of force and diplomacy. Between the two Russian revolutions, a 17th century style train station, an electric power plant, two girls' schools, a trade school, and the Versailles Hotel were constructed, and trams began operating. In 1909, 795 steamers, including 477 foreign vessels, arrived at the port, and there were approximately 3,000 shops in Vladivostok. In 1913, local publishers produced 61 titles in Russian and other languages. After the October Revolution of 1917, on December 31st, Japanese, British, and American cruisers entered the Gulf of Halych. In April 1918, the Japanese company Isido was attacked in Vladivostok. Following this incident, Japanese and British commanders deployed troops to protect their citizens. The Entente powers quickly expanded their intervention in Siberia. Canada sent 4,000 troops, establishing a barracks at the Second River and Gornostai Bay, and a headquarters at the Pushkin Theater. Bolshevik supporters waged a partisan struggle in the city. Between 1916 and 1922, Vladivostok's population rose from 97,000 to over 10,000 as opponents of the new regime, including the White Army, retreated eastward. Between 1920 and 1922, cultural refugees from Moscow and St. Petersburg established two conservatories, two theaters, and several symphony orchestras, and published art journals. After the Bolshevik victory, most of them moved abroad, and by 1926, Vladivostok's population had dropped to 108,000. On October 25th, 1922, the last interventionist troops left the city, and the Red Army took control. On November 15th, the Far Eastern Republic, which had existed since 1920, became part of the RSFSR. The Bolsheviks recognized the strategic importance of Vladivostok and began the reconstruction of its port throughout the 1920s and 1930s. Direct air service to Moscow began in the early 1930s, and in 1932, the city became the base of the Pacific Fleet. Many ethnic groups, including Chinese, Manchus, Jews, Ukrainians, Poles, Crimean Tatars, Chechens, and Armenians, who were considered rebels in Stalin's eyes, were deported. In the 1930s, mass repression began in the country, and a transit camp was established in Vladivostok for political prisoners sent from Western Russia to Kolyma. The prisoners arrived by train and were transported to prison ships under horrific conditions. Initially, the Soviets brought prisoners from Eastern Europe after 1939, and after World War II, they were Japanese prisoners of war. Factories, ports, and cities in the Far East were built by prison laborers in the 1930s. After American pilots bombed Tokyo on April 18, 1942, one of the 16 B-25 bombers ran out of fuel and landed in Vladivostok. The bomber was seized and the crew was arrested. Despite being treated well, Captain Edward York and his crewmates were not returned to the United States, despite diplomatic efforts. In 1954, Nikita Khrushchev, first secretary of the Communist Party, visited Vladivostok, becoming the first Russian leader to do so. Urban development began after Khrushchev's visit. From the 1930s to the 1970s, foreigners were not allowed to visit Vladivostok, but in 1974, the Vladivostok Arms Control Summit was held between Leonid Brezhnev, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, and U.S. President Gerald Ford. After Ford's visit, the city, which hosted the Pacific Fleet, was closed again until 1992. As of 1996, there were 6 consulates, 4 Japanese television company offices, 1 U.S. information service, over 100 foreign company offices, and approximately 600 joint ventures in Vladivostok. In December 2008, protests against high import taxes on used cars in the city were reported worldwide, though coverage in Russia was limited. The protests were seen as the first visible public anger toward the Russian government's response to the 2008 financial crisis. While other demonstrators blocked roads, protesters lit torches and bonfires during the protests, and riot police in riot gear arrested protesters and blocked traffic in the city center. Later, another protest briefly blockaded the city's airport. In 2005, Beijing and Moscow approved an agreement ending more than 3.5 centuries of conflict over territory and sovereignty. Despite this, complaints continue in Chinese media. In July 2020, in response to Russia's celebrations on Chinese social media site Weibo for the 160th anniversary of Vladivostok, the official Chinese state broadcaster China Global Television Network tweeted about Russia's embassy in China, which was not well received on Weibo. Vladivostok's history dates back much further than 1860, when Russia built a military port there. Before Russia annexed it, the city was Chinese territory known as Haishan Wai. Now that the story is complete, it is becoming clearer why Ukrainians chose Vladivostok for their operation. This is a region that concerns both Russia and China, and has occasionally brought them into conflict, and Ukraine may be seeking to send important messages in this regard. Following the outbreak of the war, Ukraine claimed that its history was not being respected. Now the Kiev regime may be seeking to rewrite Russia's history in Vladivostok. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to the battle for Hostomel Airfield, the battle that decided the fate of Ukraine. Before we get into the battle itself, let's take a look at the Russian plan. Using dozens of helicopters based in Belarus, hundreds of crack paratroopers will be flown to the airfield to seize it and its runway. Once secure, the runway will be used to land transport planes carrying around 1,000 more soldiers from Russia itself in an operation known as an airlift. A third wave of reinforcements will then arrive overland from Belarus. This combined force will advance into the capital, kill or capture the Ukrainian government, and from there, take over the country. At least, that's the plan. This is the blow-by-blow account of the battle that saved Ukraine from immediate collapse and the tactics that ensured Ukrainian victory. This is the battle for Hostomel Airfield, and this is battle. We're now looking at a close-up map of Ukraine. You can see the Belarus border and where the Dnipro River crosses it and how it flows down into the Ukrainian capital. And this is Hostomel Airfield, a large airstrip about 15 miles from the centre. As the clock ticks over to 0900 hours, Putin's plan swings into action. At Popov Airfield, a little outside the town of Mazin in Belarus, around 30 Russian helicopters get airborne. Among them are 10 Ka-852 attack helicopters and a handful of older Mi-24 attack helicopters, and 2 waves of Mi-8 transport planes, with 10 helicopters in each wave. On board the transports are 300 men from the 31st Guards Air Assault Brigade, otherwise known as the VDV, Russia's elite paratroopers, and the 45th Spetsnaz Brigade, the Kremlin's big special forces. The helicopter pilots quickly navigate from Mazir to the Dnipro River, and then begin to follow it south towards the Ukraine border. Here, as 2 large air defense sites scanning the skies north of the capital, threats. Even though Russia's missile barrage should have destroyed these sites, the helicopter pilots are taking no chances. They are flying very low, known as a nap of the earth approach, to pass underneath the Ukrainian radar. Around 9:30, they cross the border unnoticed and continue to follow the river south towards the Ukrainian capital. Emerging from the waterway, the helicopters skim the surface of the Kiev reservoir until they get within sight of a large dam just to the north, Kiev. At last, the Ukrainians spot them and air defences immediately open fire, downing 1 Mi-24 and damaging a Ka-852, which crash lands. Already, it appears things are not going to plan for the Russians. Putin's security forces had assured them that the Ukrainians would not resist the Russian invasion. In fact, they would be thankful to get rid of their government and rejoin the so-called motherland. For that reason, the force on its way to Hostomel is not particularly large or well armed. They faced having to hold the airport for hours, at least, before reinforcements arrive, and even when backup gets there, they will all be surrounded. This operation was always going to be risky, but if the Ukrainians are resisting, then the odds are heavily stacked against Russia. Perhaps this occurs to some of the men on the helicopters, but they press on regardless and make a sharp westward turn away from the Ukrainian capital and towards Hostomel Airfield. At 10:30 hours, they arrive. This is Hostomel Airfield, otherwise known as Antonov Airport, because the Antonov company, the Ukrainian plane maker, has one of its two main bases there. It compromises two large hangars where the company stores some of their fleet, including the Maria, one of the largest aircraft that ever flew. There is a radar array at the north end of the airfield, a collection of military buildings in the southeast, including a barracks, and beyond that, some residential buildings and the city itself. Then there is the all-important runway, a little over 2 miles long and made of reinforced concrete rather than perfect spot, in other words, to land a bunch of heavy military equipment. As the Russian helicopters arrive in the east, they find the Ukrainians waiting. Around 200 soldiers have been on alert since 6 a.m. when two rockets slammed into the airfield, aiming for their barracks and administrative buildings. Northwest, around 20 men are guarding the radar, while the rest are spread out in the hangars. These men are equipped with a ZU-232 anti-aircraft gun, while these men are armed with only rifles and Igla anti-air rocket launchers. As a precaution, they have parked vehicles all across the runway, leaving no aircraft to land until they are. These men are mostly from the Forward Rapid Reaction Brigade. The unit is NATO trained, but the troops at the airport at this moment are far from elite. That's because Ukraine thought Russia's initial attack would take place in the Donbass, hundreds of miles to the east, and it has moved all of its best men there. Those remaining at the airfield are largely conscripts and administrative officers, never expected to siege frontline combat, though they don't know it yet. For the next 2 hours, they will be all that stands between a free and sovereign Ukraine and one under Russia's rule. At 1100 hours, the real battle begins. Russia's helicopters split into two groups. The attack helicopters go to the northern end of the runway to take out the anti-aircraft gun, while the transports head south to try and land their men near the barracks. The Ka-52s and Mi-24s open fire with their autocannons and unguided rockets, and the Ukrainians shoot back with everything at their disposal. Within a few moments, one of the Ka-52s is shot down by an anti-aircraft. It crash lands in the middle of the runway, creating another obstacle. In the ensuing battle, another two Ka-52s are lost, one of which crashes and explodes, and another of which crash lands attack in a field just to the north of the airstrip. An Mi-24 is blown up south of the runway, while an Mi-8 is damaged and forced to land on the airstrip, where it is later blown up. Heavy damage is caused to the airport as missiles go to fly. The Maria, which was in its hangar at the time, is set on fire and burns. Fuel tanks dotted around the airstrip are also set ablaze, and the burning of crashed helicopters fills the sky with black smoke, making it even harder for Russia to land. But eventually, the Ukrainian resistance can hold out no longer. The troops are out of ammunition, and the order is given to fall back towards the barracks. With the skies now clear of rockets, the Russians begin landing troops to the west and northeast of the airfield, who quickly move out and begin to seize their targets. The soldiers guarding the radar at the northern end of the airfield are overwhelmed and surrender, becoming the first Ukrainians to be captured by Russia. As the Russians move towards the southeast corner of the airfield, a gun battle breaks out with the remaining defenders near one of the hangars. However, the Ukrainians are badly outmatched and are soon forced to withdraw into the nearby residential buildings. The Russians raise their flag over the airport barracks, and at 1300 hours, around 2 hours after the battle began, Hostomel Airfield is under their control. For the second phase of Russia's plan, we need to take a look at this map, which shows a zoomed-out view of Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. At Pskov Airfield, 500 miles to the north of Hostomel, 18 IL-76 transport planes get air, carrying an estimated 1,000 troops. It is thought these men come from the 76th Guards Air Assault Division, which is based in Pskov and is considered one of the most combat-ready units in the Russian military. Flight time from Pskov to Hostomel is about 2 hours, but the planes will never make it. Instead, about 2/3 of the way through their journey, they are forced to abandon their mission and land at an unknown location somewhere in Belarus. First, this is a close-in view of the Ukrainian capital Kiev and 2 nearby cities, Zhytomyr and Vyazovye, where Ukrainian reinforcements are positioned. Almost as soon as 80th Air Assault and 95th Air Assault, which were located in Zhytomyr and Kharkiv. It was harder. Luckily, Ukraine bringing commercial trucks and trailers to take the heavy armour north in a mission that arriving at the airfield, they already at the airfield. No heavy weapons or air support to hit back at the artillery with, and venturing out into the open is a no-go. Their only hope is to hold out long enough for the ground forces advancing from Belarus to arrive, so they dig in. A little after 1,500 hours, the last of the Ukrainian reinforcements arrive. At 15:30, Volodymyr Zelensky announces the airfield is totally surrounded. With the world watching, he gives the troops the order to attack and retake it. The Ukrainian airborne move in from the west, and the 72nd Mechanized move in from the east, encircling Hostomel and quickly overwhelming the Russian defenders. Artillery, now backed by Ukrainian Su-25 bombers, unleash a salvo of explosives on the runway and put it out of action. Ukrainian Mi-24 helicopters join the gun, providing close air support to the troops on the ground, clearing buildings. The Russians fight back, but they cannot hold out for long. The column of reinforcements they are waiting on has snarled up somewhere south of Chernobyl as poor logistics and Ukrainian attacks take their toll. No reinforcements are coming. Hopelessly outnumbered and outgunned, the Russian paratroopers are driven off the airfield and suffer heavy casualties. Those not killed in the fight are chased into the nearby fields and lack the strength to mount any kind of counterattack. By 2100, the airport is fully back under Ukrainian control, and the fighting It is not until the following day that the Russian armored column arrives. Rather than defend the airfield, the Ukrainians now withdraw, but shell the airport one last time to ensure it cannot be easily repaired. Hostomel will ultimately be as close to Kiev as Russia's troops would get.
Hardwired.
And inflicted heavy casualties. On April 1st, Putin's generals made the decision to withdraw from the area and all areas north of Kiev, giving up any hope of taking the Ukrainian capital. The battle for Hostomel was won. Russia was forced to refocus its war effort on the Donbass, with Ukraine forcing a strike in the first place.
Okay, sure. Sorry.
Just a few days, more than 2 years later, the fighting continues. So, why Ukrainians realizing what they were up to. Then,
Okay, then.
they had to get their planes on the ground or Kiev, United States. Finally, ground troops had to arrive at precisely the right moment so they could advance into the city and take over. Initially, the plan worked. Ukraine was not expecting an attack on the capital and did not see the helicopters cross the border. From the moment the
So
Germans-
transitions.
Ukrainians guessed exactly what they were up to and moved toward that plan. So how did they work it out?
The problem is there's no global hotkeys for the meld transitions for the scenes. Okay, that's my problem. Ah man, why the heck? Come on, bro.
And wonder at our place in the stars. Is this the world you've made yourself? Now you have to live in it.
Sorry about that. I'm just making sure that things are looking smooth and shit. Right.
The future is already here. No matter how hard we try, we're doomed. Say, you and your tribe.
Military headquarters, radio stations, and government buildings. Before they knew what was happening, the country's leaders were loaded
Brace
onto planes,
yourself.
flown to Russia, with their posts taken over,
I can see.
Oh, okay. Now I can do that. Okay, let me just adjust a few things here on my meld. Now I know what exactly how to actually fix my shit whenever I record or stuff. Okay, just give me a moment here. I just need to make sure that I'm looking at the right stuff here. Because now I realize what is happening to me. Okay. Okay. Give me a moment here.
This meant the Ukrainians were almost certainly aware of the tactic of their owners. But even if they weren't, then their generals would have known about it from their training in the Soviet military academy. Valery Zaluzhny, Ukraine's top general of the Navy or Admiral began, was schooled on Soviet culture and has gone on record saying he read every book Valery Gerasimov, his opposite number in Moscow, ever wrote. All of which is to say, Zaluzhny and Ukraine's other generals know how the Russians think.
Hold on. That did not work the way I wanted it to work. Hold on.
Soldiers to do the rest. The 200 men held the air. The crucial hours were responsible for robbing the Russians of steam. And these men fled without a fight. The Russian airlift had been completed before the Ukrainian support brigades were Bilaserka and Zhovny.
Okay, now I get it.
And combination full Russian logistics and Ukrainian resistance north of Moscow. Sequencing.
Now the normal. Remove the duplicate. Remove the duplicate. Alright, now I get it. Yeah.
Able to maintain control of the country. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the battle. If you liked it and you want more content, stick around for a minute from our other show, or what? This is an American This is the very first piece of footage we see of one being destroyed by the Russian army. The Abrams is among the world's best. The Ukrainians managed to lose 3 of them in a little over a week. And they have lost even more since then. Which begs the question, does the Abrams have a place on the battlefield of the future? We will analyse this footage, delve into the history of the Abrams, and speak to an expert to find out.
Excuse me.
This is one of 31 Abrams
Reaction. I did.
given to the Ukrainians by the US, used to equip the 47th Brigade. The M1A1 entered service in 1986. It weighs around 60 tons. It is
Give me a moment here.
turbine engine that will run on pretty much any kind of fuel and is armed with a 120mm main cannon. It is coated in shoulder composite armor, which provides some of the best protection in the world to the crew of all who sit inside the turret. At the back of the turret is an armored compartment where the ammunition is stored, which is separated from the turret by blast doors. That means even if the ammo explodes during battle, the crew will be protected. And on top of the compartment are blowout panels, deliberately weak sections which pop off.
Okay, that looks fine.
Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content and want to see more of your feed, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Or click the buttons on screen for other episodes. This is the Kharkiv counter-attack, the single most successful offensive that Ukraine has ever mounted, which saw it recapture 5,000 square miles of territory in a little over a month. I'm going to analyse the offensive and the tactics behind it in just a moment. But first, let's look at the Ukraine plan. This is Ukraine as it was in August 2022. Kiev is over here, Russia is over here, and here are the areas occupied by Putin's troops at the time Russia's attack on the Ukrainian forces failed. But it has taken the city of Mariupol and is now
Ah, so that's how it works. Okay. Now that is something this is something we could work with. And then when it actually just
Ukrainians will stop them. So they are planning 2 attacks. Their first is down here in Hesse. This is the only region that Russia can access anyway. And the only city it occupies to the west.
basically these are the 2 things that we're going to be reacting to. But I'm not sure if I got enough time because I spent so much time when it comes to rendering my CapCut thing, and basically I'm having a bit of an issue. Not exactly sure how I'm going to be handling it, but whatever. We're going to get there, I guess. We're going to get there.
The stage is now set for Ukraine's second secret attack, a sweeping charge east out of Kharkiv and across the
Right. So, wait a second. Right. So where are we happening? Basically, my meld studio just needs more good configs. But I think right now, I got it already. Yeah. So basically, I can just basically I can get it around. Right. Okay. I think that part of the thing is fine. I wonder what Mutahar is going to tell us, because yeah.
Hello, guys and gals.
Oh boy. This is not Nintendo. I thought at first this was a Nintendo thing, but then I saw Ubisoft, and I just told myself, ah, shit. I don't like it. But here we are. Damn it. Dude. Let me just check what I gotta check. I better start uploading the thing that I'm supposed to upload. Hold on, wait. Reaction. I didn't think that I would actually. Reaction. I didn't think that. That reacts. It's gonna be private when it comes out, but let me fix the description.
Special forces. These troops were equipped with multi-armored vehicles, including American Humvees and aircrafts, and Soviet-era BMPs and BTRs, making them extremely fast. They are backed up by artillery units yielding some of the best Western kit in Ukraine and available at the time. Polish Kram, German Panzerhaubitze, and British MH-70 guns firing NATO-standard artillery shells, along with American HIMARS and M270 rocket launchers. All in all, we think this force totals around 18,000 men, meaning the Ukrainians outnumber the Russians roughly 2 to 1, though exact figures are very hard to get hold of. On September 4th, a week after the Kherson assault gets underway in the south, Sersky begins his attack in the north with a huge artillery bombardment. 2 days straight, Ukraine pounds Russian outposts and ammo dumps in this region. Kitty, Shevchenko, Ranaklia, and Kupiansk, one HIMARS strike on Izium, even manages to kill Colonel Boris Totikov, commander of all Russian artillery units in this area. This wreaks havoc behind the Russian lines, and once Sersky senses that his opponents are in disarray, he launches the ground assault.
I have to upload these shits one at a time if I want to adjust the settings for each. I gotta do that thing. Instead of doing that shit one at a time, bro. All right. Okay. Definitely now we can actually do the reaction that we need to do. Okay. Now I can do what I need to do. Ah, nice. Those two. Shipped. It's already in the sorting center. Okay, got it. Being sorted, we'll go. Yeah. Pretty much. Alright. Hold on. Let me just put this down, and then I'm going to start doing reactions. And then my sister is actually going to have a shift later at 10 o'clock, so I need to leave at 9. For anyone who's actually asking. But anyway, yeah. That looks fine. Genshin VAs are done after the new SAG-AFTRA agreement. Nah, I am good. I'm hiding this notif. I'm not going to go for that one. Even if I wanted to. It's just... Nah, I'm okay.
You know what? Fine. Resume them. I don't like YouTube Kids. Oh my god. Too many things happening. Give me a moment, guys.
Take you home with me. I don't get what you're saying. All of these games you're playing. Can't bother reading your message. No, I'm not here for your show. Wasn't asking. But I've been quitting what you're taking. I've been sipping 'cause I'm making no regrets. I'm not a sister.
Why did shit have to happen to me or something? I'm just not sure. Anyway.
Hello, guys and gals.
Piracy isn't stealing if buying isn't owning. Basically, this is the video that we're going to be reacting to today, and considering that today's games could always get taken away from you because only the license is being allowed to you while you get the data, but at any time that you're being revoked of your license, you won't get access to your own game. To the game that supposedly you would own, but we're in a dystopia in which, in the digital age, if you do some bad shit and you get banned somewhere, and the ones who actually manage your game revoke revoke the license of the game, whose fault is it? Basically, it will be you. Basically, it will be the gamer. And of course, you would have to suffer the consequences for whatever bullshit whatever bullshit comes after, right? I mean, seriously. So this is from Mudahar, Some Ordinary Gamers. I first thought this is about Nintendo Switch and shit, but this isn't. So yeah, this is another thing entirely. So what's going on?
It's me, Mudahar, and yeah, I actually, I pirated a game, man. I'll be real. I lived life on the edge. I broke the rules. I broke the law.
Oh, sorry, Hora, for the streaming community. I forgot that. Yeah, whatever.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar, and yeah, I actually, I pirated a game, man. I'll be real. I lived life on the edge. I broke the rules. I broke the law. Honestly, I expect federal agents to be at my doorstep, putting me in handcuffs because I dared to pirate a video game from 2009. Now, you might be like, Muda, what prompted you to do this, right? Well, I was just somebody that wanted to play an old game, wanted to just relax, have a good night. I wanted to vibe out a little bit. And so I downloaded Splinter Cell Conviction. Now, these games are only like 8 gigabytes, so it took, honestly, a minute to do. It takes me longer to take a dump than download these old games, all right? And honestly, it's better than downloading a 60, 70, sometimes 100 gigabyte experience. So anyways, I just decided to hit that big old green play button, and I thought everything was going fine. It fired up that Ubisoft launcher, it gave me that little Ubisoft intro, and bam! I saw this error screen. Game startup awaiting first OC connection. Now, I thought, man, maybe I could hit the escape button and, ignore this dialogue prompt, but nope, you just exit straight to desktop. Yeah, this game is completely unplayable.
Completely unplayable on Steam. On Steam. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is why most do not agree. This is why most absolutely do not agree on the age of digital gaming. Okay? At any time that your license gets taken away, okay? This is just. Oh, I hate this so much, bro. This is. I hate that a game is going to just block you from playing the game just because you can't connect to their servers. This is just bad, bro. Dystopia. God damn, dystopia, I tell you. Dystopia.
Now remember, I actually bought this game off of Ubisoft, and just to give you an idea, right? You can go to the Steam store page right now, and you can buy the Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Echelon Edition. You can buy all these games for $40. You can buy these games
until they don't work. Unfortunately, these grubby companies just, god damn it.
for $40 and you get completely ripped off. Now, it turns out this isn't the only group of gamers that actually has this problem. Turns out the guys who love to play games like Assassin's Creed 2, and I made a whole video talking about how awesome Assassin's Creed 2 is. You should check it out. So you know I do love this game. I really do. And turns out the DRM has also said the same thing to those players. Those guys can't even play the game that they downloaded. And also, fun fact, that game is being sold on Steam for $20.
They still. This is the problem when it comes to DRM protections, okay? Oh my god, I don't know. I just. Oh, that's for fuel money. Okay. Got it. Okay. On the bed. It's probably on the bed. Yeah. Okay, sorry. My mom's just telling me where to find the fuel money because I got to gas up her car when I take my sister out to her workplace. So yeah.
Notice, multiplayer and online features are no longer available. Bro, the whole game isn't available. Fuck the online and multiplayer. The single player isn't even available. So why is it that a single player game, Muda, requires you to have any form of online connectivity? What's wrong? What happened to gaming? Well, back in the day, 15 years ago, this video by Eternal Damnation, boy, that name sends me back to high school, uploaded a video. Assassin's Creed 2 DRM is terrible. Now, if we watch this video, muted, by the way, because you definitely put in copyrighted music, guy buys a game, loads it up online, and lo and behold, at some point down the road later, the game gives him a dialogue prompt. An internet connection is required to play this game. Fail to connect to the Ubisoft master servers.
This is the problem when it comes to Ubisoft gaming shit.
Please verify that your internet connection is functional. All right, so that's pretty goddamn serious, right? And then he goes on YouTube and like, all right, guys, subscribe and like and comment, which I highly think you should, okay? I think you should go from 53 subscribers to whatever God allows him. But let me tell you something messed up over here, man. Back in the day when these games dropped, they had one of the shittiest DRMs. So, for instance, if you bought this game on the Xbox 360, and even if you bought it on, like, the iPod Touch back in the day, things would work. You know, if you just have a 360 lying around and a copy of Splinter Cell Conviction, slap that disc in, and you can play with yourself, or you can fucking find somebody else and play split screen. What a novel concept. However, the PC version implemented Ubisoft's new DRM, which requires a permanent internet connection. So when you played games like Assassin's Creed 2 at launch on PC, let's say that for a second your internet went out, okay? Like some blurb happened, and you're just minding your own, you know, playing the single player, you know, something that doesn't even touch the internet. Well, Ubisoft would just put this giant, like, little screen on, you know, it's just this flashing white light.
Basically, multiplayer and online services actually would not make any sense for the game already, since the game servers are down, no longer accessible. So why is Ubisoft still gatekeeping these types of games with DRM protections and making sure everyone is online regardless of whether there is online functionality on these games? It's pretty obvious as to why, okay? It's pretty obvious as to why. They want to keep earning for the games that for the games that they were selling before, inflating those prices to the actual prices. Well, inflating the prices as to how they look like from before, to a point that it is how it is today. This actually is unbelievably ridiculous of them to do. They didn't have to force gamers to actually go pirate the games, for Pete's sake. But of course, they're steering us absolutely to that direction. They want us to pirate the game just to get around this piece of shit problem. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Of course, we cannot be blamed because we cannot get access to a game that we own just because we're being gatekept by companies who want to keep earning from a game that has no longer online accessibility, but they still want to gatekeep us just because they want to earn. fuck Ubisoft.
It'll just say, hey, when you get that internet again, you can play the game you paid for by yourself. What a shitty concept. Now, because of how entrenched this dog shit is, the modern Ubisoft releases are now broken. Ubisoft's done something that's completely destroyed this one game. And you know, you might be like, but Muda, wasn't Splinter Cell Conviction a bad game? You know, I've always wanted a John Wick video game, not the John Wick Hex video game, but one where you could run around, blow like 10 dudes in the head, and just use the craziest combat features imaginable. You can do that with Splinter Cell Conviction. It's just a good game. I like this game. And you know what? It doesn't even matter what the quality of the fucking game is. I can't even play a Ubisoft game that I bought all the way back in the day, back in the 2010s, in 2020. You know, people are always like, why would you play old games and you're gonna have internet forever? You know, this is a perfect example of I have internet.
Exactly. What if your internet connection gets cut in a tragedy, in a sort of age in which the internet will not be able to get used? What happens? Even I know that. Even I know that. Okay.
Forever, right? Like, I'm really using the best internet possible. Why am I not allowed to play an old school fucking PC game in 2025? How is it just not possible? Why am I getting these brain dead errors? So at this moment in time, ladies and gentlemen, I had to go to the dark side. Okay, how do I play a game that I actually paid for? Well, there's two options, okay? You can tuck your tail between your legs and you can walk away. Or you can sail the seven seas. You can find the fittest of girls in the gyms around you, and maybe they might have a copy of a game that you want to play.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating piracy, by the way. I really think piracy is a sinful, wrong thing. It's illegal. It's unethical. You won't be allowed into the kingdom of heaven from what I've been told.
Except Mudahar, we're given no choice. We're given no choice. If we actually have to find the game that we want without being restricted, that's exactly what every gamer in default has to do to play the game the way they want to. Okay? Let's just be very clear, okay?
But yeah, the idea is I had to actually go on and find a copy of Splinter Cell Conviction and cracked exe files in order to get this whole situation functioning. So I figured, why not make this a bit of an educational video for the audience watching, right? Now let's say that you're somebody on the magical world of Linux, like me. And you're like, Muda, how do you even like install these third-party games without Steam and all this other stuff?
Oh, by the way, the quote, piracy isn't stealing if buying isn't owning, is an absolute good quote. If you cannot own your games that you buy for yourself, piracy is not stealing. Basically, if they're going to gatekeep you just because you cannot own the games that you buy, there's no shame in piracy. That's basically what the quote means. And I abso-fucking-lutely agree. Sue me if you think you can. Go fucking right ahead. Go right ahead and bite me.
Well, just to give you a legal analog, another game that I wanted to experience from my childhood was Guns the Duel. Now, if you've never played Guns the Duel, think of a combat shooter, an arena shooter that requires you to be on like a metric fuck ton of Adderall to play. That's a game. So I went to a private server, F-Guns, Freestyle Guns, which is probably the only large Guns the Duel like area that you can play on. I made an account, and lo and behold, I scrolled down. It's a pretty nice website. I even saw that the #1 player was Donald Trump. You know, if the president of the United States is playing this game with a level 99, 3.11 KDA, from South Korea, you know it's got to be a banger game. So I decided to just go over here, download the file, and it would give me an actual exe file that I could install. So at this moment in time, sites like this also provide like a Linux guide, but I'll show you how this works. So using a program on Linux known as Lutris, you can actually install versions of like Windows software and video games underneath this like layer. So what you do is you go to this big plus sign, you go to install a video game from an executable, and then you can name it whatever you want. So here I can call it Guns or Guns Freestyle, and as long as I just basically hit install here, it'll ask me for a setup file. So I just give it a setup file. It asks me for an installation directory, which it'll auto-generate based on the name. I just hit the words continue. And here I can just go into the setup file, browse, go to my downloads, and right over here I'm sure I can find FGuns installer. So as soon as I hit OK, as soon as I slap that installation right over here, all you'll notice is it's generating a configuration for me. So what it does is, much like Steam for Linux, it creates a little directory, a small kind of like Windows installation, a light installation, that allows me to install Windows applications.
Yep.
So for instance, right here, it'll ask me all this setup. So
This is how you pirate a game on Linux, basically.
assuming you're installing any kind of third-party software, whether it be, I guess, acquired through the open seas or through a legitimate channel, all you got to go through is follow the typical instruction on Windows. So it'll give me the basic next, it'll ask me to wait for the agreement prompt, which I will. And then, of course, it'll say, hey, install to your directory. Now, this directory may not reflect what you just saw in Lutris, but that's because this is following a traditional Windows path, right? Generally, it will be installed under the directory you saw in the Lutris client. So go next, hit next. You can even ask it to make a desktop shortcut. Go next, hit install. And Bob's your uncle, once this is done, all of a sudden, you can now go to your Guns Freestyle. And sometimes you may have to go right-click, browse the files, and just go to the Drive C over here. You can go to Program Files x86 if the install was 32-bit, which for Guns it is because it's such an old game. But if it's a 64-bit game, just go to Program Files. And again, once you go over here, you can go to Freestyle Guns. Let me just get rid of this right here. And as long as you find the launcher file, which for this, it's actually guns.exe in the directory. All you have to do is go back to the actual install you made. So right-click, configure, and of course go to game options, and underneath executable, you can go all the way to the end. And as long as this reflects, so here it's actually auto-tagged it to launcher.exe. Well, that's actually the right answer. So again, some experimentation is required. If you find launcher or game, it's really just try either one and see which one works best. So at this moment in time, all you do is double click the actual launcher, and like a Windows game, or really anything, it'll just launch the actual thing for you. So here it is, fguns.net. So here I can just hit Start Game, and boom, I can play Guns the Duel. Now this also extends to other installations as well too. For instance, I went on my GOG account and I decided, you know what, I wanted to play an old game from here. So this is kind of a good legal analog to something that you would find floating in the 7 seas of the internet. So what I did was I went to Alpha Protocol, really good game. I decided to download all of those original installers, and the same process effectively applied. I just went to Lutris again, installed it like I just showed you, and boom, I actually had Alpha Protocol, and all I have to do is double click on this, and I have the entire game ready to play. Now, to go back to Splinter Cell, how did I fix my option? Well, I decided to go on Reddit, and the closest thing that I found was 5 years ago. Some guy was teaching how to run Splinter Cell Conviction on Windows 10 in 2020. It's crazy to think that 2020 was like 5 years ago, man. Time really does fly. But when I was looking at the actual information over here, it led me through like a guide that I felt like I needed a college education to understand. Like you wanted me to go through so many menus over here, and it really didn't have to be this complicated. All it really took me was going into the old, open seas of the internet and finding an old ISO file alongside a no CD crack. So yeah, once I found this pirated copy of the game that was available on a site where I could also download iStripper. Yeah, by the way, these no CD cracks do come with what appears to be triggered like malware results. Like you'll find things like this triggering in your Windows Defender or antiviruses. And generally speaking, like these sites will say these are false alarms, but again, none of this should be done without any, again, it's all up to you, right? Like it's all up to you if you want to risk your computer or anything by doing it. But anyways, I downloaded these DRM fixes and fixed files, and I actually installed a pirated version of Conviction, which surprisingly worked. Until I found out that, guess what? The DLC didn't work. Yeah, the DLC that you also pay money to play, which actually comes with a few cool maps. Yeah, that also required me to do further fixes to this. So thankfully, I found the Splinter Cell Fusion Fix mod, which if you go all the way down over here, you can download this Fusion Fix, and it actually adds a whole bunch of options. Skip intros, restore LAN support, partial ultra-wide, all the boons that a company like Ubisoft should have probably provided, but
Basically, in pirating any game, it comes with its own tricks, definitely. It does come with its own tricks, but if you know how to follow instructions, if you know how to actually follow common sense instructions, and you know where to look, and you know how to actually perceive the options that you actually need for your game, you'll be able to get what you need for your game as long as they are available. Remember, pirating the software in itself is a completely other thing. Now, pirating the software itself, making it usable, is different from using and downloading the pirated game itself. Okay, those are two very, very different things. Basically, making something usable by changing the codes, by changing protocol, is a completely different thing from downloading and playing the actual thing. Okay, completely different. So just letting you guys know that no matter what happens here, this definitely if there are options available for the game that allow you to access different parts of the game that are normally not accessible, those are actually available too. So follow instructions, ask for guides too. You can actually ask for guides because you're not alone when it comes to actually getting pirated games, and just enjoy what you get. Basically, it's actually all of this is accessible as long as people are asking for it, and actually it will come eventually. So this is how it works.
they didn't. But most importantly, add an option to unlock a DLC content
That's
that's
unavailable after server shutdown. Exactly. This is available for Splinter Cell Conviction. I don't exactly know this game. I don't exactly know this game because I haven't played it. I haven't played Splinter Cell games in my regular time, but whatever.
unavailable after servers shut down. Now, again, when I pirated Splinter Cell with the no CD cracks and this mod, I did it also on my Steam Deck to show you like how this works. So yes, following the same instructions that I gave you earlier. Wow, almost Linus Tech Tips my Steam Deck. You can go over here and boom, hit OK, and lo and behold, thank God for piracy because I can fucking play this game again. How stupid is that? And
You can play it on the Steam Deck. You can play it on your Raj Ally hack. There's an Xbox Ally already. Holy shit.
not only can I play the game again, but if I'm gonna just check the DLCs, yeah, I have access to all of the extra maps as well. So, God bless video game piracy, because without video game piracy, I would not have been able to play this old game that I was enjoying. And especially when I map the controls to controller, I can play it just like I did on my 360.
Exactly.
With triple the frame rate. That's
Exactly.
crazy. The thing about Splinter Cell and Ubisoft is they'll do really stupid shit. Like on May 30th, they tweeted out this like image of like Sam Fisher, like from a CGI cutscene in the original games, and it's like, bro, you're not even doing anything with the franchise. What do you do? What are you doing at this point? You don't even care about Splinter Cell. Why is the company so busy getting their social media manager to tweet about this stupid bullshit when they're actually selling you fraudulent like software? They're selling you games that do not work. These are games that are actively on the store.
Actively on the store that do not work unless you're online, and that the only way that you can access all of it is that if you are online, and that they monitor that you are online, and that they know that you are online for you to actually play the game that is not considered to have any settings or have any functionality meant for online. Do you know how ridiculous this kind of mentality is? for anyone who is in a gaming company to gatekeep their own players just because they can. I hate this type of treatment. I hate this type of treatment. Okay? Ownership is never a thing anymore. That's what they want to tell us. Fuck Ubisoft. I am saying it again and again. We can all screw Ubisoft and we can get their games unfettered and free. They're not going to stop us.
And they're broken as shit, and Ubisoft isn't fixing it.
Exactly. Which leaves us no choice but to do exactly what a lot more are doing. Get the game without paying another cent because they're not going to fix shit.
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video. It might be like, why are you screaming to the void, old man? Because honestly, I have a voice, and I feel like my voice can at least reach someone at Ubisoft. So instead of actually continuing to scam the audience by buying these experiences, they can probably spend just a little crumb of their money to set aside a team that can maybe fix a lot of their older games. You know, ironically, what's even wilder is like Capcom has Lost Planet 2, which is another great game. It just doesn't work because of Games for Windows Live. But you know what they did? They removed the purchasing option because they knew it was better to not sell people a lemon. Unlike Ubisoft, option work because wilder is like Capcom has Lost Planet 2, which is another great game. It just doesn't.
They removed. Oh my god. They're fucking losers.
Doesn't work because of Games for Windows Live. But you know what they did? They removed the purchasing option because they knew it was better to not sell people a lemon. Unlike Ubisoft. Yes, we are talking the bare minimum of at least delisting your fucking game so that you can try and attempt to fix it. Not that I think Capcom will.
No, they're gonna reinforce more DRM bullshit.
So it's better to play this on the RPCS3 emulator with the PlayStation Online, by the way. Games like Assassin's Creed 2, fuck Splinter Cell. Assassin's Creed 2 is probably arguably what shaped Ubisoft into the modern monolith that it's become. Why can you at least not fix something that old and gold? I don't get
Exactly.
it. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm sure I'm not the only person screaming. You know, literally like 4 hours ago, one user was like, yeah, I was trying to play AC2 and that shit would give me an error. Game startup OC. Yeah, I know what it's like, homie. If anyone has any solutions, please help. Apparently, this problem started on June 4th, and only some people have found a solution. You know what the solution is, pal? Pirate the game. In fact, the top post is literally pirate the game.
Just pirate. Exactly. I'm sorry,
Just
Ubisoft, but you're
pirate
leaving us no choice. You're leaving us no choice.
Why have we gotten to a point where
Sorry.
we have to like pirate
But that's
video
it.
games
But that's
just
the
to play the
default what they were
software that
gonna
we
do.
bought? Either refund the people their money, Ubisoft, which I know they definitely won't do, or just fix the game. Simple as that.
Exactly.
You can even steal from the community fixes themselves and just do it. Just patch it into the game. Just give people something, man.
Give
You know, it's
people
like
what
maybe
they
they need
want.
some time away from like, you know, this massive sexual harassment trial that they have, which I guess maybe must be taking away their time, right, from focusing on all this. Where yes, 3 executives in Ubisoft are actually in trial in France right now, accused of creating a company culture that allowed systemic harassment and sexism to thrive. So 3 guys, Thomas Francois, Serge Hassachet and Guillaume Patrux have been accused of sexual and moral harassment. I don't even know what moral harassment is, but goddamn. I mean, it's a pretty serious trial, obviously, when one of the claims is one of the actual like defendants in this case showed up to a breakfast on a business trip with just straight up like porn on their phone and told their colleagues that he jerked off this morning.
God.
And Francois reportedly said, I shouldn't have done that in front of a woman.
You should not.
The rest of the allegations were addressed, according to Le
You
Monde,
should not
with
have done that in
denials or
front of a woman.
explanations.
That's
For
all you're gonna
instance, in
say?
response to questions about racist or homophobic remarks,
You
he said
didn't
he has
even
gay
say sorry. That is inappropriate. That's fucking inappropriate.
I'm
You
not
could've-
racist.
You should have been
I've got
fired on the
black
fucking
friends.
spot,
The
bro.
black friend turns out to be like,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
This is so stupid, man. But I mean, honestly, from a serious perspective, right? Like, according to one of the lawyers over here, they said, I've been a lawyer for 25 years and I've seen some sordid files, but on this scale, never. So even if their victims are broken, used, if certain victims can no longer set foot in the company without the threat of being subjected to the same treatment, I want to underline the strength that they have. Now, of course, I don't doubt that Ubisoft's still showing up in every trade show and like E3 event or like game event that you could imagine. Especially from an industry that like a couple of years ago pretty much was on what was it like Blizzard's throat, rightfully, for some of the most insane breast milk stealing culture that allegedly existed over there. So yeah, it's kind of insane to me to see this. Like Ubisoft, just goddamn give us back the game. Just like fix your game.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be this complicated. It shouldn't require me, the gamer, the guy that spent money on your product, to break the law just to play a game from like 15 years ago on a computer, right? Like it shouldn't have to be that way. Unfortunately, it is. And I feel like unless actual pressure is applied to Ubisoft, or at least like, not even pressure, like at least if they know something is broken, then at least hopefully they can either delist the game, which I don't want that to be the solution, or better yet, just fix a single player game so it doesn't need to connect to the internet just to fucking play. That makes no sense. That just doesn't make any sense. Brother, make it make sense. Please. But anyways, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully you learned how to install third-party games on your Linux system. I wanted that to be a little bit educational just because people have always asked me, how do I install third-party stuff? And using things like Lutris or Bottles or really any container software is the best avenue. But that said, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.
I'm going to say it once and for the very last time because I feel like there is a real need to actually address this statement one more time. You can't buy things that you own. You will never be blamed if you just pirate the games. I will not blame you because 100% we should own the games that we buy. If we can't even get that, then yes, you got my blessing. Cheers, guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Well, at least for the recording. Yes, I'll see you in the next one, but I'm still here. Pretty much. Oh my god, this is so bad. How did it come to a point in which we are actually doing this to Ubisoft and they actually tell us that piracy is bad? Well, fix your games. Fix the accessibility to your games. Why can't you? So that we don't do this. Whose fault is it that this happens? Basically you guys. It's basically you guys. Ubisoft. Or the companies who are... Basically, please, don't give us bullshit. You keep giving us bullshit, we'll give you bullshit. And it will be your fault that you actually inflicted this on yourselves. Basically. Anyway, okay, this will be a good time for me to actually go. I will be rendering some shit later, but I will also be doing another reaction before I stop doing reactions for the night. And then do renders, and then thumbnails, and then the promo. No, actually, the shorts promotion can be 3 days after the publishing of the video, so that can actually wait until another time. So yeah, okay. Just the thumbnails, and then I'll continue publishing more I'll continue putting more VODs. I will share to you the link to the live stream VODs, playlist on my YouTube channel, so that you guys can actually see where I put the VODs in order. Hopefully they are in order as you guys can, and you can queue it in from the playlist if you guys actually like to play it in order as you see fit, basically. Anyways, I will be gone for now because my sister actually needs me. So see you guys much later, I guess. So, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I got the juice like a snow cone. Ice in my veins and a cold flow. I'm getting cash overseas by the boatload. You wanna ride my wave? That's a no-go.